What's cracking, guys? Welcome back to Broken Sword. Okay, now, admittedly, I actually had to look this up because I was racking my brain for ages. And I went around, couldn't find anything. But the one thing I missed that we need is this. The green bar towel. Now, I thought we needed a container.
The man's arm lay across the towel, preventing me from moving it.
Oh, we need to wait until he lifts his drink. Yeah, I had to admittedly...
As the man raised his arm to drink, I snatched the towel away.
Look of how to do it, because I want to get the movie... I want to get the story moving along. And I don't want to spend... Again, I don't want to spend half an hour of an episode trying to figure out this, you know, and boring you all to death. If I've not done that already, as it is anyway. Okay, so we need to soak the beer towel.
I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it with water.
Okay, so now we turn off the faucet.
I shut off the faucet as tight as I could.
Because there is a little... There is kind of a little bug. You have to shut off the faucet, because if you don't shut off the faucet, for some weird reason, the game kind of acts as though you haven't really soaked the bar towel enough. So you will be endlessly going back and forth between the dig site and the bar, trying to get enough water to dampen the plaster of Paris. But if you don't, then the game encounters a little bug. So you have to turn the faucet off after you've dampened the towel to make sure. So, pro tip. It's a pro tip right there. It's a pro tip, yes. I am awash with pro tips. So now we go down into the basement of the castle. Cup of char. Gotta have a cup of char when I'm recording. Keeps me nice and refreshed. Then stops me getting dry mouth and all from all the talking.
The trickle of water was quickly absorbed by the plaster.
Okay.
I eased the solid piece of plaster from the sand. Underneath, it had formed a perfect copy of the statue.
And now we place that in this. This in that. That in this.
The hardened
This in
plaster
that.
cast fitted snugly into the 5 matching sockets. There was a soft thud, then silence.
Ooh. It's exciting. You got your flashlight, George? Your torch. Ooh, it is all sorts of spooky. Back in Nico's apartment.
So, where did you stay last night?
At McDevitt's. I got to drinking with Doyle and a couple of the guys.
That explains why you look so ill today. Did you get any sleep at all?
Not much. I had to share the room with another guy.
Did he snore?
Hardly. He was dead.
And you say Pigram has disappeared?
Without a trace. But my visit wasn't a complete waste of time.
Pigram's gem?
The Templars
One and the
gem.
same.
Whoever Jacques Marquet is, he's in for a disappointment.
Jacques Marquet?
He's the guy who should have collected the gem from Fitzgerald.
I've been reading about Pigram in this magazine.
The media got its claws on him.
Yeah, if I was his agent, I'd get him to lose the pipe.
That dig must have been pretty important to him. He resigned his chair at Durham University to go to Ireland. And now he's disappeared. See what you can find out about Professor Pegram.
I'll speak to the university. What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man. What do you know about Professor Pegram?
I've seen a television program, Pegram's Past. He's written a book, The Crusader Families of Ireland.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Okay.
That's the tripod in the Croon Museum. That's the gem that Pegram found in Lochmarn. The Night Scroll bears a phrase, through my teaching. There's a woman looking, but the reflection. There's a guy with a sword and a bull. Between them is a gem supported by a tripod.
Yeah, we need that tripod. Okay. She knows about the gems, so we don't need to show her.
I can't sit here all day, much as I'd like to.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobino at the Croon Museum. And why don't you see if Rosso has heard anything?
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out? Shopping, a trip to the laundromat?
Just take care of yourself.
Will do, Nico. But we need that tripod. I know how to get it. Because I remember how we need to get it. But at what point? That's the only thing that I don't know. But I think we might now be able to get it now that we've come back from Ireland. I believe. So yeah, so we don't need to go to the Hotel Ubu anymore. We can go back to Ireland, actually, if we wanted to. But we don't need to. So let's go to the museum. Because I think we have to wait until he says we're almost closing. Or we're closing in a few minutes. Ah, that's Lebanon.
I beg your pardon. Are you André Lobineau?
That's me. You want my autograph?
No, I was told you may be able to help me.
Help?
My name is George Stobart. I'd like your professional opinion.
Well, okay. Shoot.
Does the name Montfaucon mean anything to you?
Sure. It was the most grisly spectacle in Paris until the Revolution.
A public toilet?
Montfaucon was the place of execution for many thousands. A dark temple of death, with row upon row of arches, each one framing a grim exhibit. Scores of rotting corpses swung on creaking rope, while the crows devoured their flesh.
That explains the image of the hanged man. I found a reference to Montfaucon in Ireland, in a village called Lochmarn.
Lochmarn? That's where Pegram was digging.
That's right. He'd left the excavation before I arrived. Do you know Pegram well?
Not really. I met him at a conference. I would have liked to talk to him in depth, but I didn't have time.
When was this?
Oh, back in the summer, July, I think.
The second week of July?
Maybe. Yes,
Was it in the summer of
just
69?
before Bastille Day.
So Pegram was
14th
in
of July,
Paris
then.
at the same time as the other victims.
Pardon? Victims of what?
Nothing. Just thinking aloud.
And I only know that because my birthday is on the same day as Bastille Day. that's the only way. That's the only way I know actually what date it is. But anyway,
Where was the site of Montfaucon?
To the northeast, near the Canal Saint-Martin, but there's nothing there now. The old gibbet was torn down during the Revolution.
Also, Revolution.
What can you tell me about Philippe le Bel?
He was responsible for the extermination of the Knights Templar.
I know that, but why was Philip so hot to get rid of them?
Mostly because he wanted to get his hands on their treasure. He had an enormous debt and a lifelong war with England to fund. The trouble was, the Templars were a highly respected holy order.
If the Templars were so powerful, how did this Philippe dude wipe them out?
By underhanded, dishonorable means, of course. The Pope was Clement V, a Frenchman.
French, huh? Handy for Philippe.
Fate had nothing to do with it. He was Philippe's puppet, planted to further his political ambitions. Philippe wanted the wealth of the Templars and used Clement to get it.
So what was Philippe's plan? What happened?
Sealed orders were sent out all over France, not to be opened until the appointed day. That day was Friday, July 13th. That's the origin of our superstition regarding that date. At dawn, throughout the whole of France, the Templars were arrested. It was the biggest bust in the history of the world.
What happened to the Templars after their arrest?
Philippe was out for blood, so he handed the Templars over to the Inquisition. Not surprisingly, they confessed to a sensational and sordid list of blasphemies.
Like what?
Oh, the sort of things you read about in the gutter press. Devil worship, lewd sexual practices, spitting on the Holy Cross, that kind of thing.
Well, that must have given their lawyers some headaches.
Whether or not the accusations were true, this was not good publicity. Most of the charges were probably cooked up, but so were the Templars, literally. Hundreds of them were found guilty of heresy and flamed grilled at the stake. They died protesting their innocence.
But surely Philippe had no proof of his charges against the Templars.
A man will admit anything under torture. The Inquisition fabricated some nonsensical demon called Baphomet, and then suggested to their victims that this was what they worshipped.
But they didn't have to agree.
The records show a Templar coming to trial with both feet burnt off. Fragments of flesh and charred bone falling from the stumps. What would you not admit to stop such torment?
So there was no truth at all in the Baphomet accusations?
Not a shred. Almost every victim described the idol differently. No, Baphomet never existed outside the sick minds of the Inquisitors.
So Philippe stole the Templars' riches, huh?
Oh no, they weren't stupid. The king's troops marched first on the temple in Paris, then to the Templar home port at La Rochelle. There was no trace of the treasure, and the fleet of the Knights Templar had set sail.
I'd like your opinion on a medieval manuscript.
Vraiment? Do you have it with you?
No, it's too fragile. And besides, there are certain people who'd stop at nothing to get their hands on it.
Intriguing. Do you have a copy of the text?
There isn't much, only a few Latin phrases. I was kind of hoping you'd help decipher the pictures.
Without seeing the manuscript, that's a tall order.
Just tell me one thing. What does the image of two men riding on the same horse suggest to you?
The Knights Templar. Does the Templar seal appear on this manuscript? I'd love to see that for myself.
The manuscript is being looked after by a friend.
In Paris?
Yeah. Not far from here, in fact.
Well, just give me the address and I'll come round and take a look.
I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I should check with her first.
A female friend?
Yeah, she's a woman. Maybe it was my imagination, but I noticed a predatory look in his eye. Suddenly, this friendly historian had turned into the big bad wolf. Can you tell me anything about the Knights Templar?
I sure can, Georgie. Soldiers, diplomats, mercenaries, monks, bankers, you name it, the Templars fit the bill. The greatest fighting force in Christendom, the militia of Christ.
Jeez. How did the Templars get their name?
From the building in which they set up their headquarters. The King of Jerusalem gave them part of a mosque on the Temple Mount. It was said to have been the site of the original Temple of Solomon. The order became known first as the Knights of the Temple, and later the Knights Templar.
You're a mine of information, Andre.
Glad to be of help, Georgie.
How come the Templars became so wealthy?
There was a constant stream of new recruits to their ranks, many from noble families. They were required to swear a sacred oath of poverty, chastity, and obedience. So, their money, goods, and lands were donated to the order. The Templars soon held land in France, Scotland, England, Spain, most of Europe, in fact. The poor Knights of Christ became the wealthiest power in Christendom.
Is it true the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found?
Who knows? So little knowledge of what really happened remains. Or, if it does, the truth has never been made public.
What do you mean by that?
The Templars have attained mythological status, like the King Arthur of the Britons. There are people even now who say the Templars still exist.
Do you think that's likely?
No, not for a minute.
This friend who has the manuscript?
Oui, the anonymous girlfriend.
She lives at 361 Rue Jarry.
I know it well. I'll drop by. Just as soon as I can.
Andre, you're sounding a little there. And yeah, strangely enough, sort of like George was like, "Oh, I don't want to give you the address," and then all of a sudden, yeah, she lives at blah 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 blah. Nice one, George.
What do you make of this?
It's the biggest gemstone I've ever seen. Where did you get it?
From Professor Pegram's messenger boy.
Did Pegram find this on his dig?
Yeah, the site where this was found was a Templar castle. Do you think it could be part of the Templar treasure?
No, I shouldn't think so.
Why not?
Does the guy in this photograph look familiar to you?
No.
No. Okay.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Cheers, Andre. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. C'est la fucking whatever. I don't know. I can't speak French. Clearly. I speak English and English only. Although I'd love to learn more languages. I'd like to learn Japanese. Like, that is a top priority for me, is learning Japanese. Love to learn Japanese. Love to learn Italian. People say, I think I might have mentioned this in other videos, I'm not sure. But people say that French is a language of love. Nah, I think Italian is a language of love. It sounds better. I don't know why. The French language doesn't sound that thingy to me, you know what I mean? I prefer Italian. So yeah, Italian is sort of one of those that I kind of want to learn. Gordon.
Excuse me, officer.
And how may I help you?
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. Only that they were excommunicated in 1312 and hanged in their dozens within this very square.
Boy, what they teach in the police academy these days.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You have seen the Parisian traffic, no?
Yeah, so?
I could direct the traffic. The most dangerous, the east side of Rome. Or I can sit here and enjoy the sun, the architecture, and the Sauvignon. Which would you choose?
Yeah, but I'm not a policeman. What happened to duty?
An excellent question, monsieur.
What's happened to excellent this Sauvignon? Although, have you seen the driving in Paris? Jeez Louise. Like, around the Arc de Triomphe? No. don't even, you wouldn't even attempt to try and direct traffic around the Arc de Triomphe. Like, the traffic in Paris is crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure that 60% of the cars in Paris have dents in them from other drivers, just because of how crazy and wild and stupid they are.
Look at this gem. What do you think?
Cut glass.
No, it's not. It's for real.
What kind of madman would go around waving a priceless gem under people's noses?
So either it's glass or I'm mad? I didn't like to think about that for too long. Have you seen this man before?
No. Who is it?
I believe him to be an international assassin.
Oh.
Is that all you can say? Oh.
I did wonder if I should say that I believe you to be an international paranoiac, but it didn't seem polite.
Would you like to shake? I stopped myself barely in time. Electrocuting a cop would not have been smart. They'd rebuild the Bastille just so they could throw me in and throw away the key.
Might not have been smart, but it would have been funny.
I'll see you around.
Okay.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
There. Getting very pissed. Okay, I believe we can sit down. Can we not? Or is that somewhere else? Huh. Oh, look! A drain cover. And we have just the tool for the job.
I couldn't open it with my bare hands.
Oh, wait, no, we don't have the tool. Because it's back in bloody Ireland.
In French,
well.
English, and German, it read, "In 1312, Pope Clement V dissolved the Knightly Order of the Templars and excommunicated its members on charges of heresy. In the following 2 years, many of the knights were hanged on this site. Their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burnt at the stake on an island in the Seine."
See, the thing about these games is you can play, have fun, and also learn a bit of history. If you're susceptible to actually learning, because I'm frankly not.
I didn't have time to sit around. Waiting in prayer for the judgment day.
Ooh, fancy man.
The statue had any secrets. It was concealing them pretty well.
Pretty well. I believe...
I didn't recognize the
idea.
biblical story in it. I was a Sunday school dropout.
And I'm an atheist, so I have no idea. I believe we might be able to put this gem somewhere. Yes? No?
The statue had any secrets.
No.
Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. I wondered if this guy had died in combat.
Wait,
A
no,
statue of
what?
a knight holding a staff and a scroll.
Hold on a minute. We do have this. But that was in Ireland. Did we seriously go... What? I am confused. Hold on a minute. We used this tool to stick in the hole in the top of the thing so we could climb.
I didn't have time to sit around.
Yeah, we used it in the hole to get thingy. Did George really go back to get the thing? Even though he said, oh, it was clearly in there and we couldn't get it out. Game logic. Okay. So, now we do have the tool. I wonder if we can,
Hey, you! What think you're doing? Leave that cover alone. Now.
Sorry, no harm intended.
You stay away from that.
Okay. There was something we could do here. But what was it? Wait, no, that's to exit. I don't want to exit.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Hello again, monsieur.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Aha! A prosthetic nose. Very significant.
It is?
No, I am just having a little joke.
Take a look at this.
Ah, an electrician. My TV has been acting up. Could you fix it?
I doubt it. This isn't my ID. Do you know what this is?
It's a sewer key.
Does it mean anything to you?
Do you belong to some obscure arm of the Masons?
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
The pattern looks Middle Eastern. Beyond that, who knows?
Do you know what this is?
Aha! You Americans with your notorious nose candy. I read Hollywood Wives. I know all about it.
If you tried to sniff this stuff, you'd wall up your nostrils. It's plaster of Paris.
It is? Thank heaven. For one awful moment, I thought I might actually have to arrest somebody. Alors, the paperwork. You have no idea.
Would you like to shake? I stopped my electrocuting it. They'd read Bill. What do you make of this grease paint stained tissue?
Delightful. Would you like to see some of my used tissues?
Hell no.
Then please put yours away.
Then please put yours away.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
I think we have to wait for the was it in this one or was it in the other game? Isn't there a... Don't we sit like over here? I'm confused. I'm sure that's what we did. Oh, maybe not. Ah, right. Okay. Let's go back to Nicole's. Oh no, we need to go to the police. Go see Rosso. Let's go see Rosso.
Excuse me?
Rosso.
What do you want now?
About the things that we have found.
Have you heard of a man called Marquet?
Yes. He used to be known as the Mole of Montmartre. I heard he's been hospitalized, probably by one of his rivals.
Which hospital was Marquet taken to?
The Hagenmeyer Clinic, in the Avenue des Hérissons.
Why was Marquet known as the Mole of Montmartre?
Because he lived in Montmartre, I suppose.
Yeah, but why the mole?
I don't know. Maybe he ruined people's lawns.
Is Rosso here?
Clever.
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur.
One moment, monsieur. Well, I'm going to get
Stobart
Rosso.
is here to see you, monsieur.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well. What now, monsieur?
What now, monsieur?
Ever heard of a guy called Marquet? Jacques Marquet?
Marquet. I know the name well. He has a record for suspected blackmail, kidnapping, arson, and art theft.
An all-rounder, huh? How come he's on the loose?
His bravado is matched only by the courtroom skills of his attorney.
Have you heard of the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers? But of course, monsieur. Their fame is widespread throughout France. We haven't forgotten them, unlike the rest of Europe.
It was the King of France who persecuted them, though.
Indeed.
That shook his cool. Underneath his cultured facade, the man was real twitchy. You're obviously a great admirer of the Knights Templar.
They were men of great honor, monsieur. The flower of chivalry.
Not everyone would share your views, Inspector.
Not everyone shares my passion for Bartok.
But if the Templars were as honorable as...
That's enough. I do not wish to hear your uninformed opinions, Stobart.
Why do you get so wound up about the Knights Templar? They've been dead for centuries. I shouldn't have pushed my luck. Maybe his ancestors were Templars. Whatever. I saw the anger flare in his eyes like a distant summer thunderstorm.
The Templars were the first true internationalists. 800 years on, and still the world is fragmented by nationalistic flag-waving fools. You will excuse me.
Excuse
I
me.
think we pushed him
What
a
do
bit
you
far.
Is Rosso...
Yes?
Yes, I do.
One moment.
Monsieur?
It's Stobart, monsieur. He insists on talking to you again.
Thank you, Moo.
Let's try not to piss him off this time. Clearly Rosso is... he must be a Templar himself.
What now, monsieur?
Have you heard of Professor Pegram, the archaeologist?
Molly Pegram, the second son of Lord Barclay Pegram.
I don't know. I only read about him in a magazine.
So much for the efficacy of rehabilitation. What has he done this time?
He made an important archaeological find in Ireland. Do you know Pegram well?
I have connections with the family, but I wouldn't say I knew him at all.
Is his name really Molly?
Of course not. That was the nickname he was given at school. All his friends and acquaintances know him as Molly.
Do you know a pair of thugs called Flap and Guido?
I have known those two since they graduated from special school. Flap is a nasty piece of work, but Guido is the real brains of the partnership. Where did you hear of them?
I met them out front of the Hotel Ubu. What do you make of this, Inspector?
Astounding. Where did you come by a stone like that?
I was given it by a man in a bar in Ireland. Do you recognize the gem?
It is unfamiliar to me. If such a jewel had been stolen, I would know it for sure.
So long, Inspector.
Okay, so we've got a bit more information about Pegram, Molly, whatever his bloody name was. But anyway, that's where we are going to leave it for now. Next time we'll go see Nicole and Nico and see if Andre Lebanon turns up there to get some information on the parchment. See what more he can tell us, and then see if we've got more directions to go. So yeah. But anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. And as ever, bye bye.